everybody. Thanks for joining us on the first ever episode of the Extra Point Show. I am your host, David Johnson.
And I'm your co-host, Nick Fain.
Today, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest headlines and stories of the offseason, as well as the draft and free agency.
As well as we'll cover some of the most notable retirements this offseason. There was quite a few big ones, as well as some of the new quarterback contracts.
Yeah, we definitely want to get into that for sure. And we're going to start off here by talking about my favorite part of the offseason, and that's free agency.
Let's get into it.
All right. Anticipation of the NFL season. I know we're all very excited for that. I'm fucking pumped. I know that. Like I
Even
can't
that Hall
wait.
of Fame game, it wasn't
Yeah,
great, but I was
yeah,
so happy just to
yeah.
hear that intro music again.
Just to get the football. Absolutely. I always watch the Hall of Fame game, even though it's usually a shitter of a game. It's usually
that
rough.
game was. I mean, the only thing that was interesting was watching Dwayne Haskins in that.
Yeah.
I was curious if he was going to still suck, and he does.
So. Yeah, and I mean, like, we'll see how much of that is like, because as we were talking about before, the preseason is usually like a lot more vanilla as far as like the play calling goes and things like that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they get into a game situation where they have to play Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins this season because what's Ben? He's about 38 now, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I mean he had a mostly healthy season last year, but we'll definitely have to see. But we'll get into that more a little bit later here. I think that where we should start is my favorite part of the offseason personally. I know everybody's probably got their preference, but I personally am always excited for free agency because you're like who's my team going to get,
Right.
And in fact, like the Niners came away pretty good in free agency when we pulled the number 1 overall free agent in left tackle Trent Williams, formerly of the Washington Redskins football team. Yes, exactly. Big Trent. We signed that man to a much deserved 6-year, $138 million deal. And I mean, I know some people were like, "Oh, that's a lot of money to pay a left tackle."
That is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but
I think he's like the best in the game.
He's the best in the game, and we've got a quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo that's coming off, a high ankle sprain where basically his ankle just about snapped like a damn twig. So we need Big Trent in there. So
I protected, man. He's not as mobile as
I know.
might be.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day, and I think I sent it to you where Kittle like pushed Jimmy in practice. And I was I think it would have been cool to just see like Big Trent just like jump in there and intercept it. Like I want to see him earning that money. Like if Jimmy's like about to slip on like some water in the grocery store, I want to see Trent just jump in there and just catch him.
Dive in there and cushion his fall.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here. I got you, bro.
I got you.
We can't have you. We can't have you getting hurt again.
Yeah.
Man.
Absolutely. But bias aside, there were other big players signed in free agency, one of which being Kenny Golladay, who I think has tremendous potential. I think he was a really underrated receiver in Detroit, had some injury problems, but he's going now to the New York Giants on a 4-year, $72 million deal.
Yeah, he should probably have better luck there than with Detroit. I mean, no one really can succeed in Detroit. Like Matt Stafford, we don't know what's going to happen with that, but you would imagine him being on the Rams, he's going to have a much better time than he did being in Detroit.
Yeah, he's going to have more help, that's for sure. I mean, anytime you get to, line up on the other side of the ball from the reigning NFL multiple time defensive player of the year, Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they have Jalen Ramsey at corner. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to get actual help on the defensive side of the ball, which I'm hoping not too much help, obviously. But, we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, not the Giants, man. Like, anybody but the Giants. Well, or Dallas or Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I mean, here's what's interesting about this Kenny Golladay signing. So, in Kenny Golladay, they now have – I assume he might even be their number 2 receiver because they have – Sterling Shepard, who is questionably their number 1 receiver, and they have their tight end Evan Ingram. Plus, they also have, who never did anything for us, but they acquired him last season, Dante Pettis, who maybe works his way into their third third receiver battle. So
Right. That'll be interesting to see.
yeah, so I mean the Giants are getting some more weapons on offense. Plus Saquon's coming back, so that's potentially.
As long as Daniel Jones stops fumbling the ball, they might make something happen. Getting tackled by a ghost, like
yeah, exactly. That was like the greatest play to ever happen, and then he just falls on his ass. Like that definitely encompasses what the New York Giants season was. It's like so close.
I think he said he just tripped. He's like, I was running too fast. I was trying to run too fast. I just tripped. Like, what the fuck? You were like
trying to exceed your potential, bud.
Right? It's like you're like 15 yards ahead of everybody. Why were you pushing that hard? Like you could have just trotted in and probably been fine. But no, he's like, I gotta push it.
Man,
trip.
Rough.
I'm not gonna lie, I love that. It was a great thing to watch.
That was pretty entertaining. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, obviously, I know you'll be interested to see how the Giants fare.
Yeah, I hope they don't sweep us again like last season. I mean, we swept Dallas, which was nice, but I don't know, those Giants games, I feel like we could have won both of those.
Yeah, they were close games, and just like came down to just a few errors. And
a lot of the games were like that. I think for like two of them, Dustin Hunt lost. I mean,
yeah, there were definitely some missed field goals that cost them some games at various points. Yeah, I mean, and you can't really have that. Hopkins, definitely said he's gotten his focus back, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Hopefully, he does, because we need that.
Okay, and then are you like muted now?
No,
I don't hear you.
You don't hear me?
Hold on.
Oh, that's not good. You can't hear me still?
1 second. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now, what the?
Can you hear me? No.
Oh my god, dude! What is going on with this shit? And we're back. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but like the mail and like everything else, that's fucking great. We are back. Consistency. So
yeah, being the first time, some technical difficulties are to be expected. So
will arise. Absolutely. But we are getting through this here. Anyway,
things worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Where we were talking about the free agents, and the next guy I wanted to talk about was big addition coming over to the Tennessee Titans, who are of course a team that's been pretty deep in the AFC playoffs the last couple years, and I think that this addition of Julio Jones that they got from the Atlanta Falcons for a second round pick and a 2023 fourth round pick, which I mean it's pretty decent value for Julio Jones.
Yeah.
I mean he is.
I think he's going to help them quite a bit. Like we were talking about earlier, they got Derrick Henry in that strong run game, but now they're going to have him in the pass game. That's going to add that extra threat to them. So.
Yeah, I mean this is Julio Jones that like up until like a season or two ago was probably the top, like one of the top 1 or 2, 3 receivers in the league. And I mean he's aged a little bit and he's had some injury issues, but I mean the guy's been consistent his whole career. So I mean giving Tannehill that other option, like you said, along with Derrick Henry. So I mean they can pound you all day with the run, and then they'll be able to go over top of you a little bit too. So I mean the Titans could be a real dangerous team. I remember last year I was telling you that I thought they could be kind of a dark horse team to watch, and I mean this just that's a good pickup for them for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad they're in the AFC. They are a tough team.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Derrick Henry running at fucking Fred Warner 30 times a game. I mean, I love Fred.
Twice a season.
Yeah. I love Fred, and I know Fred could handle it, but it's just like a wear and tear on the man's body wouldn't be good.
No.
Yeah. And then this is another big name guy. He kind of didn't get picked up initially in the free agency process. He kind of hung around a little bit, but Jadeveon Clowney, who's a guy that came into the league with a lot of hype, former #1 overall pick, not just first round pick, but #1 overall, which normally you think is going to be like a quarterback or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he came in and he's had some good seasons. I mean, the sack numbers have never been what you thought they'd be, especially not last year. I don't think he got a single sack last year playing for the Seahawks, um, which is great for me being a Niners fan. Happy to see that.
Yeah.
But he's had a lot of potential and he's gotten a lot of pressures everywhere he's been. So I mean that has a potential to be a good pickup, especially with what they signed him. It's a 1 year deal. A lot of players this season I noticed signed on 1 year deals with the salary cap being a little bit reduced to what it was. I mean, a lot of players are going out on a prove it deal, and next year when the salary cap goes back up to normal, they're gonna maximize that value if they have a good season. Of course, if you don't have a good season, you're probably signing another 1 year deal next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that they got rid of. Well, he was a free agent, I guess. They didn't want to pay him. The Seahawks, I guess, for whatever reason, didn't try and pick him back up. Kind of surprising.
The Seahawks were in a little bit of despair this offseason, it seems. I mean, it seems like they've finally started to repair their relationship with Russell Wilson, but seems like, Russell Wilson's like on his way to becoming like the next Aaron Rodgers situation if they don't handle that properly.
Won't be good for them, but maybe he'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to go to the Bears. Apparently, there was a rumor last year where he almost got traded to the Bears, which
That's weird. Surprising they want to go from Seattle to the Bears. But
hey, I mean, he's a Wisconsin guy.
So, they got Andy now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they got Andy, and you can't forget about Justin Fields. All that hype around Justin Fields. Can you not hear me now?
It lagged a bit for a second
okay,
there.
Okay.
I think that's all right.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Andy, who they say is the starter, but we all know Andy's probably going to start 4 games, and then it's going to be Justin Fields in there. Andy,
probably, yeah.
Yeah, and Andy's like best days are behind him in the league. It was sad what the Dallas fans did to Andy last year. I mean, if any of you Dallas fans are watching, and you were the people that were cheering poor Red Rocket Andy Dalton when he got hurt on the field and concussed, shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, that was messed up shit.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your lives. Far be it from me to tell you.
Like as a Washington fan,
like life, but
for me to feel that way, it's like I thought that was wrong too. It's like, bro, that's your quarterback. Like, and he's like a nice guy. Like, you're really not gonna come. Really, like, I was just weird. Like, I'm not. I wasn't sad that he was injured, but it's like guy's out, I guess. But
gave young Benjamin DiNucci the opportunity.
Yeah, that didn't go well for them either.
Yeah.
See how Dak does if he's healthy by the first game.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully not good, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. Now, the other thing, like these guys might have potentially won free agency. I mean, it begs the question:
the Patriots?
Are the Patriots are the Patriots coming back this season? I mean, we got to look at what they did, and I mean, for anybody that maybe missed it or isn't familiar. I mean, let's just kind of like run down some of the guys they got. Like, let's start at the top. They re-signed Cam Newton to another 1 year deal. So Bill's saying he's going to be the starter. He probably will for at least a little bit. But then with the 15th pick, they got McCorkle Jones.
Yeah, right.
Mac
McCorkle
Jones. I can't believe
that's his name.
Yeah,
that's one thing I'm pumped about the preseason, to see them and the Bears with Justin Fields. Obviously, the Niners with Trey Lance. Like those games will be the best preseason ones to watch because we'll get to see those.
Tune in August 12th
and the Jaguars.
Yeah, tune in to watch on August 12th to watch the Patriots play the Washington football team.
Yep.
We're going to get to see the debut of Mr. McCorkle Jones
and Taylor Heineke will probably be playing too that game.
Yeah.
They might have a couple guys, and they might let Montez.
Washington folk hero Taylor Heineke.
I know that diving touchdown.
Yeah,
no one's gonna ever forget that shit.
Never have to buy a beer in DC again after that.
Right.
But Yeah, so like, and I mean that's the thing. Like the cupboard is less bare now for whoever they got out there at quarterback because I mean the Patriots basically I haven't seen them have a tight end combination with the potential to be this deadly since Aaron Hernandez and the Gronk. And you know that's saying something. I mean they picked up Hunter Henry on a 3 year, $36 million deal from the Chargers, and then they went and got Jonnu Smith from the Tennessee Titans on a 4 year, $50 million deal. So I mean those are pretty big pickups, and I mean those are like Hunter Henry was more your typical receiving tight end. Jonnu Smith's a little bit of a bigger guy, but I mean Bill loves his two tight end sets.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ball, they got Matt Judon as well from Baltimore
Yeah,
for what
yeah, yeah.
4 years, 56 million.
Yeah. They got Matt Judon, and Matt Judon's always been a good player. I mean,
Yeah,
Bill likes him some defense. And you know, then they picked up a couple good receivers. I mean, a guy I'm familiar with, Kendrick Bourne from the Niners, 3 year, $22 million deal. I know
hmm
Kendrick's excited to come over. He was always pretty decent number three receiver for us. Had a little bit of drop issues at times, but he was a good player. And they also got Nelson Aguilar coming over from the Las Vegas Raiders. It's still weird to say on a
I know,
two-year,
right?
$26 million deal. So whoever plays quarterback, I mean, they're going to have some weapons. Um,
hmm
and they also got
A
Kyle Van.
linebacker as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Kyle Van Noy, exactly from Miami. And Kyle Van Noy is a guy that's played in the Patriots system before. He actually followed Brian Flores, the Miami coach, who's a former Patriots defensive assistant from New England to Miami, and now he's going back to New England. So he knows the defensive playbook quite well. So that's going to be a big addition for him, and perhaps kind of the dark horse that a lot of people don't talk about, but a guy that I'm really familiar with is we talked about big ass Trent Williams. What about big ass Trent Brown at about 6'8", 350? I mean Trent Brown
Damn.
when motivated and I say motivated and healthy is he's a force to be reckoned with. He's potentially the best right tackle in the game. Um, I mean the Raiders are getting rid of him for a fifth round pick. It makes you wonder what's going on there. You know,
Someone's got some character issues or something. I
yeah,
don't know. Like,
it's either a character issues thing or usually like a salary cap dump. But yeah, usually you don't try to move on from a player like that that's got that much potential and that they're that heavily invested in. But it's gonna be a good pickup for the Patriots for sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I hope that they don't have a good season after how long they were so good for. It's like
Yeah,
hard to be
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
but I mean,
we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what they can do. I mean, the weapons are there though. I mean, Bill
yeah,
has
be some
definitely
good games
retooled.
to watch.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
say for
yeah, for
sure.
sure, for sure. I'm excited to at least see what they do. Um, but yeah, I mean, free agency was big. It's come and gone. Obviously, the signing of players has definitely deafened to a slow trickle at this point. So you get the occasional signing, but most of
Definitely got to
that's
mention Ryan Fitzpatrick as well.
yeah, yeah,
That's a free agent
yeah,
signing also.
yeah,
So
yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a big signing.
10
For the
million
Washington.
with I think he's got like 2 million in incentives or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe just 10 million. I'm not sure, but
which hopefully the man earns because I mean Ryan Fitzpatrick, like he's fun to watch, and the thing is
he's just a
like
fun guy. Like with
yeah,
that fucking beard and just
yeah,
like the way he
yeah,
is. Like
yeah,
he's like you can tell he's like young at heart. He's like one of the old. He's probably the oldest guy on the team. And it's like the players don't feel like that around him. Like
yeah.
he has that good locker room presence. Like they make
I, I
I'm happy to have him. I know some people aren't. They're like, oh, he's gonna be terrible if it's
I-
tragic.
I've
It's
I've
like,
heard
well,
I've heard some people say that Fitz he's their best teammate they've ever had,
I
and I
can
mean
believe that. I
yeah,
believe that.
yeah, and that's great. I mean shit, like you need like if with what Ron's trying to do there in trying to reestablish and build the culture, like that's the kind of guy you want. That's like you got to have veterans like that in your locker room.
Yep.
Yeah,
Especially after losing like someone like Alex Smith who gave us that locker room presence. Like
or
with
or
him
Car- or
gone,
Kerrigan, yeah,
yeah, and Kerrigan's gone too. That's
yeah,
true. Yep.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, losing
yeah,
both of them, it's like we
yeah,
definitely needed somebody like that. But
yeah,
young guys like Chase stepping
yeah.
up, being captains, and Terry. So I mean,
I feel
but
like
it's
probably
good to have that veteran.
yeah, I feel like Tress Way probably does a lot for that locker room too.
Yeah, you're probably
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's like I
He's
feel
been
like
there
he's
for a
like
long
yeah,
time.
Yeah, he's probably like and I don't mean this because Tress seems awesome. Like he seems like a great guy, but he's almost like a more watered down Pat McAfee. You know, like he's got a lot of personality for a punter, but like like my boy Pat's just
He's just, I mean,
he's excitement. Yeah, he's excitement. Yeah, like
like there's no matching that. Like
I'd like to see Tressway dancing. Like go light a guy up and like do some dancing. That'd be great to see. Be great to see. But
yeah,
with
more kickers got to liven up the game a bit.
yeah, I mean,
like Pat did.
yeah, he really did. He really did. And I mean, like we're talking about free agents, but there was also the retirements. That's always happening around the end of the NFL season. A lot of players decide that they're not going to come back for another season, and obviously the most notable case I think is Drew Brees retiring after 20 seasons in the NFL. Long ass time. I mean,
I can't believe that stat of 80,358 passing.
80,358
passing
yards.
That's like obscene. It's like Tom Brady has to be like right behind that, but still, like that's that's crazy.
He's definitely like let's see here. I'm actually curious about that while we're.
Oh, what Tom's at? I'd guess something like 76,000, maybe 78,000. It's got to be really close.
I don't think it's that close. Oh wow, okay, no,
that's a couple
right.
thousand. Yeah, I think it's
okay. It's 79,204. Okay.
So ooh, that's even closer than I thought.
So enjoy your record for a season, Drew.
I know, right?
Because we know Tom's playing next year. He's coming.
Tom's coming. The goat's coming for that record.
Yeah, it's like I almost feel like Tom Brady's like the Freddy Krueger with like that 1-2, like Tommy's coming for you thing. He's coming for your records, boy. But I mean,
that's like what Skip Bayless said about Fitzpatrick. They're like he's got some Freddy Krueger in him. He just keeps coming back somehow.
yeah, and
I love that interview.
Yeah. It's crazy when you start like watching Skip Bayless and you realize that sometimes the guy occasionally has like a pretty decent take. You're like, oh wow, I actually kind of like agree with that. But a lot of his
especially
stuff
when he's praising Washington, being a Dallas fan.
Exactly. I was gonna say, he's usually like,
I'm worried, like like that hype video that I remember from a couple months ago, like with the music and all the different different sportscasters talking about it. Oh my god, that got
we'll have to watch that again. I don't know if we could put that on the show, but that would hype some people if you're watching.
Dude, yeah, that was like the most.
We'll have to look into the legalities before the next episode.
Yeah, there's probably some. I imagine there's some things like like on Facebook you get those little like pictures where it's like, oh, they re-signed Carson Wentz or whatever, and it's got like I don't know if you can use stuff like that or not. I'm not sure. It might be because it's a picture of a football player, maybe not.
I don't know.
I just was thinking about that earlier.
Curious.
It's like, what can we get away with?
Yeah. We're gonna find out. Well, another thing that I'm very excited about. I know that there's a lot of Green Bay Packer fans out there in the world. Maybe some of you watching this show. Hopefully you are. And that's the return of Aaron Rodgers to camp. It was a big question on whether he was going to come back, and he absolutely did. I mean, I didn't think that the man would stay away with his competitive spirit. The guy loves football too much. But, yeah. I mean, he returned, and man, like, I still think that my favorite press conference of the offseason is the Motor City Dan Campbell introductory press conference. But, like, runner-up is by far Aaron Rodgers' return to Lambeau Field.
Aaron Rodgers is shitting all over the Packers
I wish we could put the clips up here.
I know, right?
Yeah, like, man, Aaron, if you haven't seen it, folks, like, get on the YouTube. You're on it now. Get on the YouTube and type in Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers press conference, and you'll be in for a treat. Basically, what he does is, like, the man speaks the most truth that I've ever heard. Like, he gets like Tom Brady real with these guys. He's like, look, this is what the organization did to me.
Like in a press conference, he's like,
he's like Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Charles Woodson, John Kuhn. Did I say Randall Cobb? Randall Cobb maybe twice. he's like I'm gonna name drop Randall Cobb twice, so maybe you bring him back. And they did. So that's a small concession, like a small, like peace offering for Aaron.
I don't personally think that was necessarily a smart move to go and get him again, but I guess that's what Aaron wanted, I guess.
Go pick up I mean, he's got chemistry, and I mean, we all know like the majority of the passes are going to Devonte Adams in Green Bay, but I mean, he might give him some slot help, some help out of the slot. So you never know.
Yeah, I guess Aaron decided he wasn't ready to go host Jeopardy yet. So
yeah,
like, I got a couple more years of football in me.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, coming off the season that he had, I mean, he had an MVP season. Like, he had a phenomenal season. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I know everybody like took a stand on this. Like, everybody from Brett Favre to like every fan out there had a stance. Terry Bradshaw had a stance on like what was going on, and like he's dumb as a box of rocks is that's what Terry said. He called the Jeopardy man dumb as a box of rocks. I was like,
yeah,
wow,
that was
wow, Terry. This is Terry who basically like runs down highlights like touchdown. Yeah, it's like he just like the man can't form coherent thought. And like he wants to say that like and it's not his fault. Terry probably took. I mean, he played for the '70s Steelers. He took a lot of shots to the head. Like. But I'm just saying, like don't cast stones, bud. Like especially if you're gonna call Aaron out for that specifically, like you're gonna call him dumb. You're like not gonna call him like greedy or like egotist. You're gonna call him dumb. I was like,
yeah,
he's not. He's
like
not
a poor
dumb.
choice.
He's not dumb. Like we all know that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it goes without saying, I am a strong. If this was Twilight, I am strongly in the Team Aaron is where I am. Like there's Team Packers and then there's Team Aaron. I'm on Team Aaron right now. But honestly, like here's the thing. And I'll ask you your perspective on this here in a second. But if you're not everybody, like fuck, if I mean even if like Jimmy went up to the Niners and was like, I want this, this, and this. Like, John Lynch would probably be like, I mean, actually, John Lynch is really cool. John Lynch might actually hook him up. But, like, in most cases, like, if you're a player going up to an organization and, like, I want to control this, most of the time they're going to tell you to get fucked. But,
right.
I mean, like, there's certain players, like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers,
Mahomes,
Patrick Mahomes. Like, there's some guys that, like, if they want some say in the team, I think you got to give them some say in the team. I mean,
yeah, they have leverage in that aspect.
Yeah,
like Aaron, if he is to leave Green Bay and go to another team, the amount of leverage that he would have in the new organization, I think would be a lot more than in Green Bay.
Like if Aaron went to the Broncos, I bet the Broncos would like name the stadium after him. Like, yeah, like John Elway would be like, he'd be praising. But yeah, I mean, Aaron, like, he's hopefully got some more control. Like, and what he said was telling because he's like, people aren't coming to Green Bay because like this place is like not a tourist attraction. They're coming here to try to win a championship and to play with me, which I'm sure to some people sounded egotistical, but he's right though. Like
yeah,
they are coming to play with Aaron Rodgers. Like of course they are. Like why else would they be going there?
Yeah, he is Green Bay, really. Like when you think about it. Like if he was to retire and he wasn't on the team anymore, that's like the whole identity of that team.
You gonna build the Green Bay Packers in Jordan Love's image? Not yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're gonna be in unless they get like lucky in the draft and then get like some new rookie quarterback and they get lucky again after Favre and Rodgers, which would be really irritating.
I mean, that's
unlikely, I would think. That doesn't usually happen.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen to us. It didn't happen to us. We had Montana. We had Young. And then we had Jeff Garcia, who like we didn't draft him, but then like the next move was Carmazzi. That was the move.
Mm.
And yeah, it's very hard to get 3 straight. It's very hard.
Yeah, like I would say, even getting 2 straight, even getting 1, is hard. I mean, most of the teams, there's only that many good quarterbacks in the league at any given time, really. So it's like even just getting a single one is incredibly hard.
Which is why, like, you see the rush, like like I said, when Matthew Stafford becomes available, like, and everybody wants to give up 3 draft picks to get Matthew Stafford because these guys don't become available all the time.
And in other retirement news, I would say the most important one to us, being Alex Smith. You got the jersey there in the back.
Yeah, Alex
Point
Smith
that out
retiring.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, go the other way.
Yeah, other way.
Yeah.
Got the Niners jersey, Smith jersey.
Yeah. So Alex
Kind of
Smith,
sad he retired, but unfortunately, I mean, no one was going to pick him up. I remember saying, I know you thought that someone might pick him up, but
I was hoping that they would. I didn't figure he would get a lot of opportunities to start. I remember that the one team that was kind of looking at him was Houston, and I mean they have their own quarterback issues right now, which I know we're going to get into here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, and they ended up picking up some other guys, so he ended up retiring. But yeah, I mean, to even come back and start 6 games on that leg.
Yeah, that was the greatest comeback in NFL history, in my opinion.
I mean, you come in on a team that's fucking 1-5, like literally 1-5. I mean, Haskins and Kyle Allen were a combined 1-5.
Ugh.
Like they did beat Dallas 25-3, but
yeah,
it was rough. So in the rain.
That was Allen though. That was Allen, not Haskins. So Allen is a little better than Haskins.
Yeah. Kyle Allen knows the offense. Kyle Allen is Ron's boy. I think he's Ron's hidden son-in-law. Ron, if you're watching the show, call in and let us know. If Kyle Allen, because we know you like him. I know he knows the offense. But I saw that game that he played in 2019 against the 49ers on our way to the Super Bowl, and it was suspect. Suspect, Ron.
Kind of like Mullins, man. It's like, I don't know if you should be keeping that guy around anymore. But
Nicky Mullins went to.
Well, yeah, he's gone, but
fly Eagles fly, baby.
Which is hilarious. That is just that's wonderful. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that couldn't be any more perfect other than Dallas. Like, but the Eagles are going to be trash next year. They're not going to be an issue.
Nicky Mullins, my boy, favorite Niners quarterback of all time, Nick Mullins.
Ugh.
Yeah, but anyway, back to Alex Smith. Yeah, Alex Smith did the impossible. He came back. He not only returned, which I mean, like it's great enough if you return, even if you got in one game, even if all he would have done was get in that Rams game and get sacked by Aaron Donald in the rain, like that would have been a feat. But that's not all he did, bud. That's not all he did.
He got back up and played the whole
game. Came back and he fucking won, dude. Came back and he won, and he got Washington into the play.
Did they win that game against the Rams?
No, they absolutely did not. But they won the following week.
Okay, I was like, no, they didn't.
Yeah, no, he won. No, he won. He didn't lose that, or he did.
That game was like a 9-3 game or some shit, wasn't it? Because
that game was shitty though when he came in though. Like he in fairness to him, like he.
Yeah. The game was already shitty. It really wasn't his fault. Yeah. Like I mean. That rain, that was like that one Niners game from what was that 2 years ago? What was in the rain?
It was 2019. Yeah, the 9
that was a shit show of a game.
It did produce some of Jimmy Garoppolo's best runs as a 49er.
Yeah, I know, right? Didn't he have like 50 yards that game?
He did.
Running.
Yeah.
Something totally unlike him.
Jimmy scrambles. I love it. But yeah, Alex Smith, I hope you enjoy retirement. I hope you enjoy hanging out with your family. You deserve it, bud. I mean, you've had a great career. I know some people would question that and be like, oh, well, he was never that great. But I will tell you this, and this is a fact. Look it up. I mean, I don't know of really any quarterback off the top of my head that's had a winning record with 3 different franchises. I mean, that shit is hard to do. I mean, had a winning record.
Wait, did he have a winning record with Washington?
Yeah, absolutely. He started
really?
He started 17 games for him, and he was he was his first season.
Oh, you're counting from back in. That's right. Like years ago. Okay, yeah.
He started 6-4 in 2018. Started 6-4, and then he got hurt. And then he started 6 games last year, and he was 5-1. So what is that like? That's 11.
Damn, I can't believe he was at 5-1. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like I know it was just last year, but it's like, damn. Like
yeah, I mean
awesome.
He came in and got it done. And I mean you can question like he had a broken leg, and yeah, I mean he couldn't move around, but like the man is he can prepare. and that's what
He
he
had to
did.
wear a leg brace, like a
Yeah,
specific type of leg brace, because I guess he had like he has like a dead foot now, I guess, like where you can't lift it a certain like you can't if you lift your foot up
yeah,
straight,
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
can't do that, I guess, like when he runs. So
Yeah,
without the brace on, he's not able to even like he couldn't even run. So he had that much damage when he has this brace on, like, and without it, there's no way he could play. And he still goes out there.
yeah,
Aaron Donald jumps on his fucking back.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when that happened, my heart was like,
yeah. No,
like in my throat.
I
But
remember watching that. That was scary,
yeah,
and the fact that like he couldn't like, if you've ever tried to throw a football without planting your foot, like you lose a lot of the pop on that. I
mm-hmm.
mean, if anybody like hasn't tried it, go out and try to throw a football and like don't plant your foot first.
Just
Just
stand
yeah,
still. Yeah,
yeah,
like
and you're not gonna get the same pop. And basically, like everybody was like shit talking Alex and like all of his like passes and everything, but basically what the guy was doing was like like it's amazing he's even out there.
yeah, he
Like,
was doing what he could. I mean, he was
yeah,
always kind of a, a captain check down kind of
yeah,
quarterback, but before he was hurt, he did at least, he threw more. At least. I mean, when he came back, obviously, I feel like he was limited in that sense. He can't get that same, like you're saying, the planting. He doesn't have that ability to like throw it down the field like Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers. I think he threw maybe like a couple deep passes
yeah,
during those games, but most
yeah.
of his passes
He
were,
did, and some of them actually looked pretty good. I remember one time he hit
yeah,
Terry on a deep touchdown.
Terry.
Yeah,
I think I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah,
mean, like he had the ability. I mean, but he's the man has made a good living for himself. He's got a good family. I think he's happy. He deserves retirement.
they should rename that.
He knows.
Last thing
Yeah,
about him is they
yeah,
should
yeah.
rename the award the Alex Smith, like the comeback player of the
Oh,
award. They should rename it the Alex Smith
100% agree.
Award.
100% agree. No player has come back through what he's come back. I mean,
And like last year when they were trying to compare like who's the bigger comeback, Ben Roethlisberger or Alex Smith, it's like that is not even a conversation.
Ben recovering from his
Like
elbow.
that's fucking retarded that was
Um,
even in the same breath. It's like, dude, no. Like there's literally like been no other injury like Alex's that bad
yeah, I
other than
mean,
Joe Theismann, but
yeah,
that was he didn't have
yeah,
the leg rot off like
yeah,
Alex did from his infection. I
yeah,
mean, he had better medical stuff, nowadays, but
yeah,
and Joe Theismann never played again. So it's
yeah.
weird. And the two worst injuries I can think of in the NFL are both on the Redskins. Like, right.
Maybe it's good they changed the name.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I mean, honestly,
Not.
with the culture change, I'm happy about it. Like, I miss,
Yeah,
obviously, I got
yeah,
all the reps and stuff. I miss the name. It'd be great to still have it, but this culture change makes me really, really like down with it. It's like,
it's
what? If
hard.
that's what it takes, then
Yeah,
awesome. Like, if we're gonna start winning and like get to a Super Bowl again, it's like fuck it. If the name is the Washington football team, fine. I mean, I hope they
yeah.
end up picking Red Wolves. That's what I'd like to see, but
It's hard
see
to
what happens.
argue with what Ron's doing. I mean, it really is. You'd be hard pressed to. I mean, the man is coming in one short season. I mean, the amount of team like you don't make the playoffs a whole lot in your first year usually, especially coming off of like what they came off of. Like with all
Mm-hmm.
the
It was a pretty
characters.
nightmare season overall. Like,
Yeah,
but even though we got to the playoffs and that was the first time in a while, and that was great. Like getting there was really rough, and just the whole, Alex coming back, that was really great though. I have to say that. I mean, that when he came back, that was like the greatest thing I've seen in, Red and on the Redskins and
it was
since
great.
since
It was great to
RG3.
see.
Like that
Yeah,
was so wonderful. Like, oh my God, this guy's back on the field. Like what a
yeah.
miracle.
It was great to see him play. Yeah, I mean, I was super pumped. I remember when we were watching that game. That was really cool. But
All right, we should probably cover the other
yeah,
notable
yeah. I mean,
retirements.
there were definitely other players that retired as well. In addition, I mean, even at quarterback, Philip Rivers also hanging it up after taking the Colts to the playoffs last year. Going out.
You might have a few more kids.
Yeah, yeah. Philip going off to go be a dad to his 35 and a half kids. So excited about that. Enjoy retirement as well. Also, the NFL is losing Julian Edelman and Marius Thomas, who are a couple of receivers. Tight ends Jason Witten and Greg Olson. Um, are also the Pouncey twins are retiring. The Pouncey twins, Marquise and Mike, who were centers for the Steelers and Dolphins collectively. Mike Upati, former 49er and Cardinal lineman, is hanging up the cleats. Also, Anthony Costanzo, big former Colts lineman. Former Carolina and Washington linebacker Thomas Davis, hanging it up. Sean Lee, retiring from Dallas, also a linebacker. And we're losing him. We're losing the elder statesman of the NFL, a personal favorite of mine, Adam Vinatieri, who is a man that I have personally seen kick the football through 3 different Super Bowl uprights. Two with the Patriots and one with the Colts, like on game winning attempts. Like this man is he has ice water in his veins. Like after 20 plus seasons, enjoy your retirement, bud.
Yeah, he had a good long career, so I mean, it's probably about time.
Yeah, I mean he definitely didn't have anything else to prove. I mean, like the guy had basically stints in his career of over 10 years with 2 different teams. Over 10 years with the Patriots and over 10 years with the Colts, which is like insane. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and Andy won 3 Super Bowls as as a kicker. So he was probably like he'll go down as the most clutch kicker of all time, I think. I
Maybe
mean,
Justin Tucker might also, but you're right. Those Super Bowl winning
so
kicks
yeah,
is
yeah,
pretty big.
I'd say that. Like, I mean, Tucker's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Like,
I think it's yeah. I mean, in that sense, yeah, like the winning of a game, but like Tucker's stats are probably better. I mean, I'm just guessing just because he's so good,
yeah,
but
yeah, his field goal percentage is higher, but I
and his
just don't think.
longest field goal is probably longer as well. Doesn't he have the record in the NFL for
No,
longest field goal,
Matt
or
Prater
like
has
in the NFL currently? Like,
Matt Prater has the record.
oh, okay,
It's like a 64, 65
64
yarder.
or 66 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can talk about some of these obscene quarterback contracts,
Yeah, yeah,
mainly Dak and
yeah, yeah.
Josh
So,
Allen.
exactly. Yeah. So Dallas signs Dak to a $160 million deal with 126 million guaranteed. Um,
Ridiculous.
yeah. Now the interesting thing about this deal is there's a record 66 million guaranteed in this contract, which there's never been that much guaranteed money issued in an NFL contract ever. So I mean, Jerry's really putting a lot of faith in Dak, which, I mean, no disrespect. Dak is actually, I think he's got a
He's
lot of
good.
potential. He is good. But basically, I mean, that's like, that's almost like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers investment, for a guy that, like,
Yeah, he
has
hasn't earned it. He hasn't
yeah,
earned
yeah,
that
yeah,
amount of money.
he
Like,
hasn't,
see,
he
they were
hasn't,
1-3 with him last season,
he
and like
hasn't
they're all
gotten you,
hyping
he
him up
hasn't
like he's.
gotten you out of the wild card round. It's like I don't know. I mean, like, and again, Dak's a dual threat. I mean, I've personally, like in 2017, I'm not ashamed. Dak whipped our ass, like in Kyle's first season. Like we lost bad to the Cowboys, but I mean, I don't think that happened now. I mean,
No, probably
I,
not.
I think if anything, like I mean, Dallas's 32nd ranked defense playing a healthy Niners offense, like oof,
Yeah,
yeah, cover that.
Dallas. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, they always get hyped up way too much in the offseason because they're America's team and they have like the most fans and all that. But
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be anything special
I
again.
will say this.
I think
I
see them
think their
again.
defense will be better. But I mean, going
Well, it
from
has to
like
be better.
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, going from 32nd, like all you have is up. All you have
Yeah,
is up.
exactly. It's like it couldn't really
Yeah,
get
yeah,
any
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I
25
mean,
to 3 that one
yeah.
game.
Ugh.
They were terrible.
Mm. But yeah, I mean,
Kyle Allen can put that kind of points on you. Something's
yeah,
not good.
yeah, making Kyle Allen look like he's going to the Pro Bowl.
And then the other Allen with Josh Allen, which is
Josh
the even
Allen.
more obscene
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
contract.
yeah. The more recent one is Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that just happened a few days ago, I think.
yeah. Now I will say this: the Bills had a great season last year, but I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I'm all about the whole underdog experience. So like it's cool to see the Bills finally coming up, but like you finally won the division in a year when Tom vacates to the NFC. Like I mean, all right, that's
Like how
cool.
convenient.
Yeah, that's cool. But like, who else was gonna win that division? Was it gonna be Cam and the Patriots? Because they were having issues. Also, the Patriots, something to mention, had more COVID opt-outs last year than any other team.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's an
Yeah,
issue
yeah,
with
yeah,
Washington. They
yeah,
have some
yeah,
guys on the COVID list.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, so that was another thing. I mean, but then they had like Miami, and like Miami was basically going Fitz, Tua, Fitz, Tua, Fitz, Tua. They couldn't figure out who the hell was going to start at quarterback. That's never a recipe to like, be super successful. And
Right.
then they had the Jets in that division, and well, yeah, you know what's happening with the Jets.
Yeah.
They're in a full rebuild now with Salah, so we'll
At
see
least they
what
got
happens.
Salah though. I mean, it sucks that the
Yeah,
Niners lost him,
it
but that's
sucks we
probably
lost
gonna help
we
them.
lost Salah, but yeah, I mean Salah is the man. Like that dude has fucking energy for days. Like that was like my favorite part sometimes of watching the defense is like watching him on the sidelines, just like go up there and like just like shaking Sherm and like Bosa and just getting excited. The man brought the enthusiasm. But yeah, so I mean, we'll see if they earn it though. I mean, that's going to be the question. I mean, you got the money, now you got to go out and prove it. And
Yeah, I mean, I hope Dak doesn't.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I I know we've talked about this a lot, you and I, but like, I mean, when you look at what these quarterbacks are getting, like Mahomes 45, um, Josh Allen
I think Josh is
43 million a
43,
year,
right?
yeah, Dak 40 million a year, like I mean, and then you look at like what Tom Brady's getting,
Yeah,
and Tom,
25,
and
right?
Tom Brady's making 25, and Tom Brady's winning bowls. Like,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean,
He's
like,
the best one basically, and he's
yeah,
making that
yeah,
little. It's like
but like,
that's why
yeah,
I think
yeah,
these contracts are just kind of
yeah,
disgusting. It's like, man,
yeah,
these it's not like look
yeah,
at Tom Brady. Obviously, had the recipe for success. Take a little bit
yeah,
less
yeah,
money,
yeah,
keep other weapons on
yeah,
my team, and we
yeah,
actually win. Like, why
and
can't
yeah,
why can't more of them do that? Is what I was
yeah,
gonna say.
and I mean, for years I struggled with it. Like because I know most of the viewers are going to be like, oh well, fuck Tom Brady, and I get it. I get it. I get it because you know what? I was there once
Yeah,
too. But when you
right.
really look at it, like Tom Brady is the ultimate team player. Like, and you can't
Hmm.
argue that. Like you can't. Yeah, does he win too much? Maybe. Like, is he too good for you? Maybe. Like, but you know what? You're mad just because you have your own insecurities. That's what it is. I know. I was. Luckily,
Yeah,
Tom Brady always played in the AFC, so like for me, it wasn't
didn't
too
have to
much
play
of
him
an
all the
issue.
time.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But I mean, I go back to a game where we played the Patriots in like 2012. It was Niners Patriots, and like it was one of Collins' first games, and that was one of the best games I've ever seen. Like it was insane. Like it was a shootout. Tom Brady versus Colin Kaepernick. I'll have to show you the highlights sometime. But it was a crazy game. But I was like, we've rarely had to deal with him, but we were up so much in the first half, dude. Like we were up like I want to say like 31 to like 3 or something, and then like
Damn.
he started like the second half started, boy, and you know what happens? He just starts like he's like almost like one of those like granite like chipper people. Like he's just out there. He's just like motherfuckers just chipping away the granite, just like it was like, all right, we're gonna come back. Like, and then that Atlanta game, the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle was the victim of that, being the offensive coordinator. Atlanta was up. Matt Ryan thought he was gonna get a Super Bowl up 28-3 at the halftime. The Patriots are dicks. They got 28. I think they got 31 diamonds, like the 28 and the 3, like the diamonds in their Super Bowl ring to like be dicks
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Oh
But like,
wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But Matt Ryan thought he was gonna get a bowl.
Nope.
Matt Ryan didn't get shit.
Although so did Jimmy. So did
Yeah.
Jimmy.
That's true. That's true. And I mean,
So you want to talk about some bullshit fourth quarter comebacks? Like
yeah, it was Mahomes.
that's one of the awful.
Mahomes. You can't. I mean, but what can you say about that guy? Is just
Yeah,
best athlete in the NFL right now. I think. That's.
superhuman.
I've
Yeah,
seen it. I've seen it first. I've seen it happen. I I remember that Super Bowl. I was like, oh, it's gonna be fine.
I
It's
can't
gonna
believe
be.
how that. There's like 10 minutes
It's
left. Dude.
gonna
It's like
be.
how the
Yeah,
fuck?
I was like, it's gonna be fine. The defense was suffocating. He couldn't get anywhere. Like Bosa was coming, D Ford was coming, DeForest Buckner was coming, Eric Armstead was. They were all coming, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, boy, I still have like PTSD moments when I can't think about it too much.
I know,
But
right? It's like that was rough.
I gotta. But speaking of QBs, like we had it forecast to potentially have like the most QB turnover in the NFL in recent memory, and there was a lot if you think about it. I mean, when you think about like Washington lost a starter and Alex Smith, like by retirement. Indianapolis lost a starter and Philip Rivers by retirement, so that's 2.
Mm.
The Saints, the same thing. Drew Brees retired, so that's 3 out there. So that's 3 new faces in those locations. Plus, the biggest situation, of course, was the Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff trade, in which the Rams sent Jared Goff.
To Detroit.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't only Jared Goff. This is I wanted to make sure I got it right here and remembered it all. But yeah, it's Jared Goff, 2021 third round pick, their 2022 first rounder, and their 2023 first rounders. So total of 3 draft picks and Jared Goff going to the Detroit Lions in exchange for just Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, like, that doesn't seem like a good trade at all.
No picks. Like, so now Matthew Stafford's good. I mean, Matthew Stafford's
good? Is he that good though?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out. Like, the question begs, like, the fact that for years Matthew Stafford had Calvin Johnson, who is if he didn't play in Detroit, would be up there like with Randy Moss. Like, you know, he's in the conversations for greatest receiver ever.
Yeah.
But he played in Detroit. So a lot of times, like, those guys don't get the love that they deserve for being a great player. So we're gonna see. I mean, he's got a lot of, he's got a lot more going for him. Not even just on the offensive side of the ball, but their defense is like gonna give him a lot more help. Because they're gonna be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, that's gonna be something he never really had in Detroit. Now Jared Goff has a new opportunity as well. Now, the interesting thing about this trade is this is the only trade where teams have exchanged number 1 overall picks. Both of these guys, former number 1 overall picks. Stafford in 2009 and Goff in 2016. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I know a lot of people are going to say Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback, and I would probably agree with that. But this is a guy in Jared Goff that back in 2018 had the Rams in the Super Bowl. I mean, they of course also fell victim to Tom Brady, but he had him there. I mean, so this is going to be an interesting move, and I'm interested. I'm watching with both eyes to see what Motor City Dan Campbell does in Detroit. I'm excited. There hasn't been an NFL coach like this. Respect to Kyle. I love Kyle, and even respect to crazy John Gruden out there.
I was gonna say John Gruden, yeah.
Like, I am excited to see what this man does. Like, I am pumped. Like, I'm gonna be watching Detroit games very closely. I hope you have a good season, Lions fans. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do deserve it.
You guys deserve it. You guys deserve it. The Browns had a good season.
The Dolphins
Lions are next.
had a pretty good season.
The Dolphins got 10-6 and they got jobbed out the playoffs because
Still a good season, better season than the Washington had, I guess, technically.
Yeah.
Even though we got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then got beat by Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Just that's what happens.
It is what it is. That's what happens.
That's what happens. But I mean, we're talking, on that same topic of quarterbacks. Also, the Eagles decide to part ways with Carson Wentz, another former Super Bowl, not only Super Bowl starter but Super Bowl winning quarterback. Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts for a 3rd round pick this year and a 2022 conditional pick. Now, this is interesting because this conditional pick, if Carson plays, and prior to a week or two ago, this would have looked a lot more possible, but if Carson plays in 75% or more of the Colts offensive snaps this season, it's going to be a 1st round pick. Now, if he plays if he plays in even 70% of the Colts offensive snaps and the Colts reach the playoffs, it's a 2nd rounder. Now, he's got a foot injury right now and he's expected to miss 5 to 12 weeks. So the regular season, he figures, about 4 weeks away. He's going to miss about 8 weeks of the regular season. I mean, you figure maybe, I don't know where Philly's bye is, but, like, let's say they're lucky and they've got the bye in the first half of the season. Maybe he misses the first 6 or 7 games.
Well, it depends how long he's out. If it's 5 to 12 weeks, if it's if it's
yeah,
6 weeks, then he'll only miss like 2 games. But if it's 12,
that's
then
assuming that's assuming that it's like the full 12. Yeah, and how
right.
cautious they are. Yeah, and I don't know what Frank Reich, the Colts coach, we don't know much about him and how conservative he's going to be with putting his guy out there. I mean, that'll be the interesting question. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do know that if it falls below 70%, I think that knocks it down to a third round pick. And I mean, so I'm sure I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles are closely monitoring this situation as well to see how their compensation is going to go.
They're probably so they want him if he does well with the Rams, they get more compensation.
Or with the Colts, yeah. So they want him.
The Colts.
They'd love to see Carson start every game.
I see. Which that's not happening.
They want that first round pick. Yeah.
Eagles are probably feeling good about that then after he got hurt. It's like, well, not our problem anymore.
Fly Eagles fly, baby.
I mean, other than the pick they may what they may or may not get, but
yeah.
Losing a pick or two or a round or two on a pick is probably a lot better than having your main quarterback for half the season.
No shit. Now, talking about new beginnings, we got a guy that's got a lot of potential. Number 3 overall pick, third overall draft pick in Sam Darnold, who personally I always thought was a guy that could play. I mean, his stats don't really dictate that, but I mean, then again, if you go back and you look at the Jets, I don't really think a lot of players in the last couple seasons really have stats that dictate, greatness.
Right.
Frank Gore was there. I mean, Frank Gore was running his ass off, and you can only run behind the line you can run behind. Like what can you do? So Sam Darnold gets a fresh new coat of paint. He's going over to Carolina under second-year coach Matt Rule, who took over for Ron. We're going to see what he can do. They're getting him for a second rounder, which is pretty good value, I think. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, for the guy's potential and upside, Darnold is still young, so that's an advantage. They've got a guy that potentially, if he is the guy, could really. He could be the future there. And I mean, like, Carolina's got a good team. They've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got DJ Moore at receiver. They moved on from Curtis Samuel, but they have other weapons.
Yeah, we got Curtis Samuel now.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a good pickup because he's a guy that can play outside. He's a guy that can play in the slot. That's going to be a really good pickup for Washington. But
absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to see what Sammy can do. Sammy the same.
Yeah.
I remember
he has a good new opportunity getting out of the Jets, because that had to suck. So at least he's got a new opportunity.
Yeah. Funny story about that is I remember the first game Darnold started, the Jets won, and everything, and this Jets fan was holding up the sign in the crowd that said Sammy the Savior. And I was like, man, I was like, maybe for Carolina, bud, maybe for Carolina. And then, talking about another quarterback that moved on is actually, this kind of ties into the Sam Darnold situation. After Carolina acquired him, then they traded Teddy Bridgewater to the Broncos for a 6th round pick. So Teddy's going to go down there, and he's starting with Drew Lock. The Broncos obviously have had kind of a mediocre quarterback situation the last couple years. Drew Lock, I mean, he's a guy that came in from college with big potential out of Missouri, but has kind of struggled in the NFL, either with injuries or just consistency. But Teddy's the guy that can play in the NFL. I mean, before his knee injury with the Vikings, he had a pretty good season. And then
it's a good value for just a 6th round pick.
I mean, you really don't hurt yourself in a situation, no. and you give Drew Lock some competition. And realistically, I mean, we're talking about maybe one of these guys being a bridge guy for a year, because honestly, if the relationship's not repaired in Green Bay, I could see Denver taking. They're major contenders in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes for sure. For I think trying to acquire him if Green Bay is trying to move on from Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Them in Washington apparently.
Yeah, them Washington. Aaron's interested
In
in playing in
Miami, I think.
Miami.
Right.
Yeah, he's interested in Miami, which I mean, I'd be interested in playing in the beaches in Miami as well.
Oh
Beautiful
yeah, one
weather.
other notable retirement that I just remembered
Oh
is
yeah.
RG3.
Oh yeah, that's more recent. That's more recent. That
Yeah,
just happened a couple
that just
days ago.
happened. Yeah, pretty recent. But it's a conditional retirement. I mean, ESPN, I guess, hired him to do some college and NFL commentating, but he has like a clause in his contract where if a team calls him and wants him to, come and play, that he can get out of that and go back
Yeah,
and play. So
yeah, and I could
I'm
see
happy
like
to see him doing something, and he seems like he'll be good at that. He's a very well-spoken person, and I
he
think
is.
he'll be
He is.
successful doing that.
He
Good,
is.
glad to see him having some success, especially after what happened to him in 2012 with Washington. That's like I've always felt really bad for
Yeah.
him. Like I know some fans like to blame him, but it's like that's not
Yeah,
accurate.
I
It's not
mean,
his fault.
the player's always going to want to play. I mean, like I know
Right.
from like having a sports background myself and playing sports, like even if you're hurt, like you want to be out there because it is like I mean that team's like a brotherhood, like you really don't want to like stiff your guys, like you want to be out there with
Mm.
your guys, especially at the quarterback position. Like you're the leader of like that offense and like of that team. So like of course you're going to want to play. I mean, I think like like I remember like one time like with the Chargers, Philip Rivers like played an entire game with a torn ACL. The guy could barely walk, but like he didn't want to come out of the game. So yeah, sometimes you do more damage to yourself. But I mean,
I think Tom said he played hurt last season,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like the last
I'm
half
not
of the
I'm not
season or
I'm not
some shit.
surprised by that. Yeah, it's like
Crazy.
and then you find out about it after he's like all healthy. He's like, yeah, I'm fine now. Yeah, but yeah, that'll be interesting because like I could see if the Ravens have an injury, or like God forbid Lamar ends up on the COVID list for I think what would be a third time. I mean,
Oh geez.
I can see them bringing. Yeah, he just got off the COVID list for the second time. He was on it once last year. Or if an injury happens to Lamar or Trace McSorley, who's their backup, or anything like that. I mean,
They could call
RG3
RG3.
knows the playbook. Yeah, and he's a guy that could come in, so that's an advantage that they have. And I mean, probably the last quarterback situation, and I mean it's kind of cooled down a little bit, but obviously there was the Deshaun Watson situation and his alleged 23 cases of
Sexual
sexual
assault.
misconduct and
Yeah,
misconduct
whatever.
with
Yeah.
women of the Houston massage parlors.
Seems to have
So
gone away though. It really doesn't seem like
yeah,
it's a very big issue anymore.
yeah, according to what I've looked into recently, it does seem like the investigation's still ongoing. But yeah, nothing's really come of it as of now. So with that being said, I think that he is planning to play and be available.
Probably.
Although he is still seeking a trade out of Houston. But with
Mm.
that 40 something million
Yeah,
contract,
I think it's 41 million.
you got to find a trade partner. You got to find somebody that's going to be willing to take that on. And
Mm-hmm.
so far that has not been easy. But yeah, um, now what we want to get into for the show, and this is probably the most exciting part of the show for our Niners and Redskins people, is we're gonna just talk about the latest and greatest happenings of the show. If you don't know how this show format works, neither do we really at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But
we don't really know yet either. But
what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna try to cover like the main stuff that's going on, the meat and potatoes of the league, and really just football in general every week, and then we're gonna get into just talking about what's going on with our specific team, because we do want to cater to our specific fans as well, but we want to make it a show that's enjoyable for everybody. So even if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys or the Seattle,
right.
the rainy city pitch pigeon Seahawks.
Yeah, you gotta say it. You gotta say it.
I gotta say
it's so perfect.
It's the best
like,
title.
sorry,
I've ever
any
heard.
Seattle fans,
Yeah,
but like you
sorry.
gotta give it credit.
I mean,
Rainy City bitch pigeon,
I hope you tune in for episode 2, if for no other reason than if the Seahawks whoop our ass this season, you guys can talk shit to me, and that's fine. But I opened myself up for it. But I'm gonna talk shit to you too, Seattle fans. So just be ready. But yeah, let's talk about some Niners stuff, and then we'll get into the Redskins stuff.
One thing I will say is one thing we won't do on this show is like outright shit on players like for no good
Right.
reason.
Right.
Just because we don't like the team or whatever. It is not gonna like like Dak Prescott. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah,
Right.
fuck Dak. I hope he gets his leg broke. No, I'm not, that's not the way we work. So
I
you
did.
guys are like
Yeah.
people that really want
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hateful
Yeah.
things against a team you don't like. That's not the place for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than a couple players that we don't like for other for
Yeah.
specific reasons, that's not really something we're about.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll go off on a quick tangent about this real quick, and then we'll get into that because we were going to talk about that eventually too. Obviously, everybody can be their own type of sports fan. Like, do what you do. But yeah, on this show, if you're tuning into this show, like that's not what we are. I mean, there was a point in time, I'd say, in our lives where, like I said,
Absolutely.
like maybe I was, taking a shit on Tom Brady. Maybe I was. Maybe I was. But then,
I definitely was.
but then you really find out, like what's going on, and like, like Tom Brady is probably a great fucking man. Like outside of and they're all probably great. Like Aaron Rodgers is a fucking Mensa candidate who could host Jeopardy. Like dude's super smart and like always like grew up like a Niners. Like the dude's like super like fucking genuine. You get to see his personality come out if you watch the Pat McAfee show. I mean, you really get to see how human and genuine these guys are. They're just like us. These guys are just like us. They're just normal people. Dak is a great person who did a lot for mental health. Like, I mean, yeah. Like, I will never wish injury on these guys. Like, for that reason. Yeah. Like, I want to win. But if you think about it from a competitive standpoint and being a competitor myself, do you want to beat a team that's like half-assed, like full of injuries, or do you want to beat a team at their best? Like,
right.
You want to beat the best.
When the Niners and Washington played, and the Niners were all banged up, with Mullins in there. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we won and all, like,
right.
But it's like it really didn't feel, you didn't really earn it. And like they replayed that Chase Young fumble on Nick Mullins all the time, and they're like, oh my god, one of the greatest plays.
Yeah.
Really hard to like look at that and be that like I'm happy he got the recovery and the touchdown, but like it wasn't that impressive. It was Nick Mullins. Like, come on, let's cut it back a little bit there on the.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that to kind of set your expectations. I mean, we're definitely, always gonna show, because like these guys are great athletes that are doing something that, like, let's face it, like we couldn't be out there doing. So I mean, I'm not saying you gotta like act like they're like godlike or anything, but like I just say they deserve a little bit of respect. They've worked hard their whole lives. They got to the NFL, like busted their ass. And honestly, if you don't like Tom Brady, maybe go watch the ESPN 30 story on Tom Brady, where like Tom Brady like gets all like, and you see the young Tom Brady, and he's like, nobody wanted me, and it's like kind of fucking sad. Like you're like, Jesus Christ. I was like, all those teams passed on Tom Brady, and it's like, you fucking fools. We did it too. Gio Carmazzi is who we took, Niner fans. I hope you, if you don't remember him, then yeah, I don't blame you, because
you don't want to.
Took like 3 consecutive sacks in the preseason, and he never came back. He's herding goats in the fucking mountains of Appalachia. Now, who the fuck knows? But anyway, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But let's start by talking about the draft. And I think we've got a lot to be happy about, Niners fans. We started out this year's draft by we got in it. I mean, we were doing all kinds of wheeling and dealing, and John, John moved us up and got us all the way up into third with his wheeling and dealing, which John Lynch is from a guy that had no front office experience, this dude is a fucking solid GM. Like, John Lynch has come to play. Like, he would ring your bell as a safety. Like, and now, like, Hall of Fame worthy John Lynch, by the way. Hall of Famer John Lynch. Congrats, John Lynch. That's right.
Oh, my phone.
Also, yeah, let's give it up actually for all the Hall of Famers this weekend. Everybody.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we had Troy Polamalu getting in. We had a lot of legendary players getting in. He did. So
Polamalu.
Yeah. As Pat would say, Polamalu lining up in the C gap. He's never done it before in his life. When Pat would have thrown a touchdown pass in Pittsburgh, Pat the Pittsburgh native. I love listening to that story. I've probably listened to him tell that like 4 times, but yeah. All right, so the draft. So Trey Lance is going to be, from what they're saying in camp, he's been looking great every single day. I mean, he's got like he's got a live arm. He's really dangerous on that rollout. I love the quarterback rollout to the right or left.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
Madden, that's
yeah,
like
yeah,
your
yeah,
go-to.
yeah. You roll out and you uncork the ball deep down 30, 40 yards down the field, and we've got the receivers for it. So I mean, obviously love to Jimmy. Jimmy is the starter, but we're gonna get to see some of Trey, and Kyle confirmed that recently that we're gonna get to see Trey Lance in some certain packages like the Saints do with Taysom Hill and
Hmm.
Drew Brees. So that's gonna be really exciting to see. That's gonna add an element to what already makes a super dangerous Niners defense or Niners offense, and like specifically a Niners run game specifically.
Hmm.
Fuck that. I'm just gonna redo that. I was like, yeah. I don't. It's fine. I don't even
All right, hold
care.
on. I'm gonna hit this with your.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. All right. Anyway.
I
Yeah.
mean, so far it seems good. Seems
Yeah.
good. It's
I know.
going
I
good.
just said like defense instead of offense, which is like stupid.
Oh,
But
that's.
like,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine. That's what. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say you need to cut that out, but it's a simple flip of the tongue. No one, we're not. If we're doing it to be more of like a casual, not like a recorded show, then
yeah,
stuff like that. I don't know, because like you see some of the things on YouTube, and people obviously do different takes, and they actually sit there and have a script and what they're following. We're kind of just shooting off, shoot from the hip.
yeah.
So
That's true.
I mean, not entirely. Obviously, we have our our format, but like we kind of jumped around quite a bit,
Yeah,
which I
yeah,
think
yeah,
is fine.
yeah,
We'll probably get better like at figuring out maybe the order, like like we said
yeah,
earlier, like we don't really know what we're doing, like yet. So like,
yeah. Oh fuck. We never even. God damn it. We never addressed the Aaron situation either, because it was like.
oh shit.
Yeah, that was a big one because I feel like a lot of people are. Yeah, we gotta. Well, okay, so I'll have to cut that back in like between the transitions. So we'll just film it after the fact. We'll just talk about Aaron shitting on the organization, and then we'll wrap this up here after we do. We'll finish the Niners stuff, and then we'll do the Redskins stuff, and then we'll just film the Aaron thing. And then if you want to
Okay.
refilm a different intro and just see which one's better, we can. Just
Yeah, it seems like probably I really wasn't
yeah.
ready for it,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and like I kind of like yeah, it just I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
Okay.
And we
So
had to
here's
figure
what.
out how
So
to
here's
listen
what
to
we'll
it.
do for that. So like I'm gonna be like I'm David Johnson, and I'm not gonna say like I'm gonna stop, and then you can be like, and I'm Nick. I'll let you take over. I'm not gonna introduce you.
So
You
you'll
just
say like thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Extra Point Show. Whatever, whatever. I'm David Johnson,
yeah. It's like
and
I'm your co-host David Johnson, and then I'm gonna leave it to you. Like that's the last thing I'm gonna say. Like the last word out of my mouth is gonna be Johnson. So and then it's on you.
you should say host, and I'll say co-host because that
Oh,
makes more sense.
okay.
I don't know. It just sounds better.
Okay. All right. Either
I
way.
mean, you could say co-host, but I don't know.
Either way.
It seems like it would
That's
sound better.
pretty much okay. I mean, we're all the same thing. But yeah, that's right.
I know. It just you know what I mean. Like it sounds
Yeah,
like
I
I
got you.
guess I don't know.
No, okay, all right, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. I'm down with it. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. So I'm just gonna start the Niners draft thing all over again, run through it, hopefully. So we moved up to the number 3 pick, and there was a lot of questions about who we were going to get in the draft, whether it was going to be Mac Jones, Justin Fields. There were a lot of hot quarterback prospects for months. It seemed like everybody was debating that. Is it going to be this guy? The Niners groups that I was a part of, everybody had their opinion, but I liked Trey Lance, and I know everybody's going to be like, oh, it's easy to say after that. But I was saying things about Trey Lance before because he comes from a pro style offense at North Dakota State, the same offense that produced Carson Wentz. So, I mean, they know how to like adapt quarterbacks to playing in the NFL. Pro style offense basically means they use the shotgun and like multiple receiver sets where the quarterback's not playing under center all the time. In case for the viewers out there that didn't know that. Um, so we got him. That's going to be an exciting element. Even though Jimmy is our starter, gotta support Jimmy G. It's going to be exciting to have a different element to our offense. I mean, this is like what the New Orleans Saints basically killed the league with the last couple years, using the Drew Brees and Taysom Hill packages and stuff. I mean, we've already got potentially the best rushing offense in the NFL. Between what Juice does, what our offensive line does, and our group of running backs. Like if you had a quarterback that can run, and like he's like lining up, and like we've got Jimmy split out wide as a receiver. Trey Lance is in the backfield. You don't know if Trey Lance is going to take that snap and run. You don't know if he's going to throw. It's going to
Right.
add a lot of excitement. Like this is going to be really cool to see. And I mean, Kyle's the kind of guy that can scheme up a lot of things. I mean, the man is an offensive genius.
Yeah, those dual threat quarterbacks are definitely the most exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, watching Lamar
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
great. Like,
Yeah,
it's always entertaining to watch
that's lightning
him.
in a bottle. Like anytime I can watch the Ravens game, I'm always trying
Right.
to because of what he can do. And like talking about that, like our quarterbacks, whoever is going to be quarterback, we talked about Trent Williams earlier, big old Trent, and we also drafted Aaron Banks in the second round out of Notre Dame. He's another, he's penciled in or projected as a guard, so he's probably going to play inside, but that's another guy that's projected to be a potential starter. So right now, you look at what the Niners' offensive line is. Being Trent Williams, Alex Mack at center, who we got who we acquired in free agency from the Falcons. You've got Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. Aaron Banks playing one of the guard spots, and Laken Tomlinson playing the other guard spot. So I mean, you look at potentially that's a really good offensive line, and I mean, with what we have the potential to do, and that kind of ties into the next pick. In the third round, we took Trey Sermon out of Ohio State University, and the Niners already have they've always had a good compilation of backs, um, since Kyle's been there, but we did lose two guys. We lost Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon in the offseason. So basically, in the selections of Trey Sermon in the third round and Elijah Mitchell in the sixth, we're replacing those two guys, and both of those guys have looked really good in camp so far as well. I mean, Trey Sermon is potentially going to get a lot of the second team reps, and be the next back that comes in usually after Raheem, and of course that's big because Jeff Wilson is probably going to be out the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season. The Niners also addressed corner, picking up Ambry Thomas. They also got an offensive lineman, Jalen Moore, in the fifth round, and Talanoa Hufanga, the safety out of USC, who is like a wild man. Like I'm excited to see him light somebody up. Like he's a really hard hitting safety. Hopefully, like in our mold of like a Cam Curl like guy, or maybe like a Landon Collins, like maybe play up around the line of scrimmage and like just pop running backs as they try to run through the hole. But yeah, I mean, and that's going to be exciting. I mean, we added to an already loaded team. The Niners, obviously, they've been for the last couple of years the best, one of the best teams in the league. They just have had some unfortunate circumstances occur.
Yeah, last year, especially with all those injuries, that was like awful, man.
Yeah. And I mean, and so far everything's going great in camp. I'm not even gonna like mention because I don't want to, talk about like what the best part of camp is so far. Any true Niners fan will know what the best part of Niners camp's been so far, and that's that all ties into that. So we're just we're knocking on wood and we're just hoping for the best here. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna move on from that. And yeah, but what is interesting is that's going on at camp is some of the key position battles are for our number 3 receiver spot. Right now, it looks like that's coming down to Mohamed Sanu, Jalen Hurd, and also Juwan Jennings is looking pretty good out there. Those are all guys that obviously Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are going to be our ones and two, but yeah, it's really going to figure out who's going to shape out the rest of that roster. There's also guys like Richie James, who really stepped up for us during the injuries last season and showed that he can not only be a return guy but also a receiver. So that was big. But yeah, we've got some good players in there. I think that the Niners receiver room has the potential to, if we can actually get Jalen Hurd on the field this year.
That's what I was thinking. If Jalen Hurd ends up being really good, then with Brandon,
it's like, please God, let's get him on the field. Like, for the love of fucking God, like
like I like Washington's, new, with Samuel and Terry, but if Jalen Hurd turned out to be good, I think they'd be a better receiver for.
the one preseason we got to see him play, he caught 2 touchdowns against like Dallas. I know it's the preseason, so you got to adjust your expectations. But one was like a back
Right.
shoulder throw, and like he just looked great. The kid's 6'4". He's built more like a tight end, but he plays wide receiver. I mean, you get him in that offense, like that's going to be good. I mean, plus we've got Kittle, obviously Kittle, the best tight end in the game because he can block. I know all you Chiefs fans will probably be
Well,
pissed,
somewhat,
but
somewhat argue it's Kelsey, but
yeah. Well,
yeah.
when Kelsey can block like Kittle can block, come talk to me. I know Kelsey's always gonna have the receiving numbers, but again, when you have an offense that
Yeah.
basically forces you to throw the ball to like one player over and over again, then that's fine, I guess. But we don't have that, and Kyle, I think, would rather run the ball 40 times than throw it 40 times. So
It's like my favorite Madden strategy: just run tight end attack and just then
yeah, yeah.
just.
I mean, it does work. It does work. I mean, obviously you've seen the
It
Chiefs
does.
make it work, but that's what's going to be excited. We've also got some position battles shaping up at safety. We're going to see what's going to happen. There's a lot shaking up at that position. We're going to see if mainly Jaquiski Tart can stay healthy. That's going to be the big thing because last season he was limited to about 7 games. So I think that's kind of why we brought in Talanoa Hafanga. Is because we know that both him and Jimmy Ward have kind of been banged up at safety a little bit. But we've also got Tavarius Moore, but he's starting off the season injured as well. So that adds a little bit of a wrinkle into it. But I think we've got the players there to be good. And like I said, this has been a team that the Niners have been building to be deep for the last several years. So I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah, as long as the injuries stay away and aren't like
Yeah,
last year, yeah,
yeah,
they'll
exactly. Just
definitely
like
be really.
please,
That's really
yeah,
the only thing is like
yeah,
just please God no
yeah,
injuries. Like
yeah, exactly. I got like the little prayer hands emoji up there. Yeah, yeah, please. But yeah, I mean now we can get into anything that you want to cover about Washington.
all right, yeah. I mean the biggest news, obviously, the what we picked up in the draft.
Yep.
The first pick being Jamin Davis,
Yeah.
which
That was good. That was good.
should turn out to be very very good. I mean, what I've watched from the practices and the camps, he's
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 fast.
uh
He's
he's living up
fast.
to the hype, is what
Yeah.
it sounds like.
He's
I mean,
got
he
that.
hasn't played yet, but
Yeah. He's got
yeah,
that
he's very yeah.
sideline.
Well,
He's got that sideline to
the whole
sideline
team is
speed.
fast now. The whole
Yeah.
offense is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So after that, we had Sam Cosmi, I think, was the
Yeah.
second pick,
Yeah. Yep.
and which he's also. I mean, he's got to go up against Chase
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
camp.
I
I
mean
mean,
that's a good introduction to the NFL. Like
yeah,
your first assignment in camp is like going up against Chase Young. Yeah. It's like okay.
you're basically you're getting practice with like
The best. Yeah.
one of the best
Yeah.
or the best. Yeah, like
Exactly.
basically, yeah,
Exactly. But that's good.
and that's
Like
invaluable.
iron sharpens iron, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the third pick was our own Juice, Benjamin
Yeah.
St. Juice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you say it Juice or if it's Juice,
I
but
think it's yeah, juiced. Yeah. But I
maybe
don't
yeah.
know.
But I like to say Juice because
Yeah.
it's like now we got our own Juice. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
got Juice
yeah,
Check and
yeah,
we got this guy. So and he's supposed to be a breakout player too. Everything
yeah,
in camp has been really
yeah.
good. I mean,
Yeah,
so
there
that's
was
good.
some
And then
negativity like about maybe him being a reach when he was drafted, but in camp they're saying that he definitely, comes as advertised, so he's
mhm.
living up to the hype.
And then the next biggest one would probably be Diane Brown.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was in the following pick,
Di
number 82.
Diami, take the top off the defense, Brown.
Depending on how he does in the preseason, he could take that third receiver spot. Like
Yeah,
that's one. I was gonna mention the camp battles too. I mean, I guess
yeah,
it goes in with this because it's going to be between Adam Humphries, him, and I think Cam Sims is
yeah.
probably
I'd
part of
say
it.
I'd say Cam's probably earned himself to be in the running for that.
So you're gonna have to see how they use Samuel and where they place him, and then
Yeah,
who's gonna get that third
yeah,
spot. But I think he has the potential to do. I mean, all of the players that we've drafted really like
yeah.
none of the it hasn't been any like they've all gotten like glowing reviews. It's a man they're doing like you said as advertised basically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like that's how I feel about the nine. I feel like they've drafted well. So I mean, anytime you can like
Hmm.
go into the season with a good draft and a good free agent class, like especially to a team that was already good, like
Yeah,
things are gonna be live for sure.
and then our I think the last two we got a tight end John Bates Have to see how he goes. I mean, and then the new long snapper, since they got rid of or he retired, Nick Sundberg, which is kind of unfortunate. He's been with the team for a long time, but now we got the Cheeseman. So as long as I like the name, so if he does well, that's great.
The Cheese Man.
Oh no, there's a couple. Those are the couple later round picks too. We got linebacker William Bradley King. I haven't heard much about him. Shaka Tony.
Yeah.
And then Dax Milne. I've heard a bit about Dax Milne and the other receivers, but
those guys are like guys that and really pretty much after your third receiver. And the same thing with the Niners is like that position's really shaken out to like who can contribute on special teams. So that's
right.
Yeah. So I mean, either as a return guy.
Was Cam Sims the return guy, or was it Steven Sims? I always mix those two up.
They both got opportunities, but Steve Sims was the main one that was fumbling on the punts.
Okay. Yeah. He was okay.
I don't see Steve Sims like with the improved receiver room. I don't see.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's going to be there.
Making the roster this.
Cam Sims probably will, but not.
Cam Sims probably will. I think he earned that last year, but at least being
he did step up.
Your third or fourth. I mean, if he's not the third, he might be the fourth because he can play special teams.
And then there's Antonio Gandy Golden, who we also really don't know anything about because he was injured.
Kind of an unknown. Yeah, I mean, he really got limited playing time. He's kind of like your guys, Jalen Hurd, but
basically, yeah. And then other camp battles, we got the free safeties. Picked up Bobby McCain from Miami, right? Yeah, from Miami. Yep. So it's basically him and DeShazer Everett are getting the starting reps. So be between them, and then Jeremy Reeves is also in there.
Yeah. It's funny if you think about it, because like the camp battles for the Niners and like they're like receiver and safety, Like everything else is pretty much determined. Like you know who's going to be where. Like obviously like nobody's coming in and taking Fred Warner's job. In Niners.
I'd say one of the biggest ones actually is the strong safety with Cam Curl and Landon Collins.
Yeah,
that's because Cam Curl after last season he's really hyped up. It's
strange that they want to play them at the same position. Like now Ron might be the guy to do this, but almost if you could do like a sub package where you have both of them in as like linebackers, because like I know they don't want to play Landon, and I'm they don't have to play Landon Collins as a linebacker. I mean his true position is strong safety. I know a lot of people have been calling for that. But I mean, if you could like use a sub package, like I mean, you could have both of them in on the field at the same time. I mean, or even do different situations with them. I mean, but it's kind of strange that they're playing them because they're both very good players, and it seems like you want to try to have them both on the field at the same time.
Well, like what Ron was saying the other day when one of the press conferences, like they're really looking for versatility. They want to be able to have players that can play different positions, and if somebody is hurt or for whatever reason, or you move guy like Curtis Samuel, he's a receiver, but he does those running plays out of the backfield, and it seems like that's really what he wants, is just the most versatile team you can get. So if somebody's out, somebody can step up and take that place, and the depth has improved vastly from last year. I mean, I haven't been as excited for a football season, really ever in my life. Like between the new coach and the new cast added throughout the draft and the off season, it's just like, wow, like things actually look good for once. And the name change thing sucks, and it is what it is. But I'll take wins over,
And I mean, depth is how you win in this league. I mean, because injuries do happen, and I mean, like the fact, like if you can still field a competitive team through that, then I mean that's how you get to the playoffs in this league. And I mean they're also like deeper at quarterback, I'd say, with like obviously last year it was pretty much like Alex Smith or bust as far as getting results in the win category, but like now I mean they've got Heineke, who is a lot of people are excited about him, and they've got Fitz who can definitely come out and win. Plus, they've kept Kyle Allen around, who
and they have Steven Montez too. I don't know what they want to do with him, but that's technically 4. So
he might get on the squad. Steven Montez might be a squad quarterback. Might make the squad for the second year. I mean, you might need to keep a guy around with the COVID protocols and everything. That actually happened with Minnesota. Minnesota currently with the lowest vaccination rate in the league at 64%. Actually just had Kirk Cousins, Kellen Mond, and one of their other quarterbacks. They only have, out of their 4 quarterbacks, they only have 1 vaccinated quarterback. So
Wow.
like, yeah, basically like if they have, yeah. So I
That's
mean,
lower than Washington's. I know Washington's
yeah,
vaccination rate was pretty low.
well, Minnesota's the lowest in the league now. Yeah, yeah.
I heard Washington was. Am I misremembering, or did I read something where it said they were like above 90% now?
I
I feel
think they
like I
are. I
did.
think they are now. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was just really recently. Like they were low, but I swear I read something that said
You know,
they're
Ron
at
got in
ninety
there and
percent now.
chewed that ass. He's like, if you guys, if an outbreak costs us a game, it's gonna cost you your job.
And the
That's
fact
really
that
what
he
he
just
said.
recovered from cancer. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you
I
guys
was like,
like.
did you guys just forget that I just had cancer? You know, no big deal. I just had cancer, right? You guys just remember that? It's like, yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's definitely a lot to look forward to. I mean, I think that this next upcoming NFL season has the potential to be the best in a long time. You know, the Niners are going to
Definitely.
make a recovery, and the Redskins or Washington have the potential to do even better than the 7-9 season, which won them the East last year.
Finally
So
primed for a good season, like a winning record season,
like
and maybe finally win a playoff.
I could see a 10, 11, or 12 win season out of
I could see
Washington for
that too.
sure.
I could see that. We were close
I
to
could see
10
that.
last year.
Yeah,
We lost like a couple, like numerous
yeah,
games by
yeah.
very small numbers.
That's how I feel. Like
So,
we were 6-10, but I felt like the Niners could have easily been 9-7. You know, like
mm,
if we had just like a few other things go right. One of them was that
right.
week where we had the two errant snaps for Robbie's field goals. That was
Mm,
rough. Yeah,
yeah.
that cost us a game. But yeah, um, but I mean, I hope you guys have all enjoyed tuning in, and hope you've enjoyed the first show, whatever it is. We're gonna try to bring you guys a show every week here going forward with the preseason coming up. We're gonna try to talk about some of the stuff that's happened in the preseason games this week. Um, so yeah, definitely like and subscribe, and hope you enjoyed the show. Take it easy, everyone.
Take care, guys.